My car, it's got a dead battery. Surprise, surprise. I don't drive it enough, and it's been...
and we need to get some E85.
E85.
So pump fuel, you can just get E85 anyway, can't you? Saying that though, it's pretty close to your house, yeah?
Yeah, but if we're going out, we might as well fill up a container. There's no point going to get that car, driving it back, getting fuel, but that's E85 life.
There we go, that's what you want.
Jordo, the GSR, we've been getting some messages. Where is it? It's been in a bit of hibernation with COVID. What's going on? Well, this morning, of course, I thought I went to start the car. What a surprise, dead battery, because I've run this battery up and down so many times and then it had to charge it. And it's pretty old. Anyway, we go down to get a new battery, and of course we come back here. Idiot me, I measured the length and the width, but not the height of the battery. I should be right, it's a small battery. It's actually, I've measured it now, the terminal's 5 centimetres higher, and it pretty much hits the bonnet. So we're going back down, so we'll take the old reliable Subaru back down there to get another battery. Yet again. Anyway, what else have you been doing? You've been ordering some spare parts? Like anyone during the COVID, I have been slowly ordering bits and pieces just to, I guess, when we can work on the cars now, and we can now, easily. I've got the parts ready to go. Some of the parts take ages to come. Some of them come from Japan, some of them come from
China.
On top of that though, we have done with centerline suspension, we've done some work with the suspension, but we'll cover that in another episode because that's a bit... Yeah, it's had a you could say a suspension overhaul. The guys at Centerline worked their magic on the car, and yeah, bit different. But all right, let's have a look at some of the bits we've got for the car and some of the other, not problems, but challenges we've got. It's a bit of a challenge when you've got an older 90s, not so popular Japanese car. Yeah, and unlike Subarus, which are the easy, jigsaw puzzle, things just go straight.
You mean Lego?
You call it Lego, do you?
Well, they go together like Lego, yeah. The bits, just chuck an old bit from a new bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the problem with these older 4G motors is...
They switched them.
They switched them on the later models, and you can't use anything. So it looks like you've been giving the PayPal account a hard time. What have you got? This is actually, I guess, a brace for the clutch cylinder. So what happens is, you can see it on my car, it's got a little bit of rust and wear, and you get cracks around the firewall. So this is from, I think it's Evo 123 Spares in the UK. Thanks Carl, he sent me that recently. This is just some fairy floss for the engine, this is Alibaba style, straight from China. Even you can see the anodizing isn't quite right there, but whatever this is done in. But that's just to get rid of the plastic one on the car, because they get pretty scratched up and pretty worn.
You got two?
I bought two of them purely because in case I go to a call and plug, you'll have to drill holes. I don't even know if you could use this plate, but they're so cheap, honestly. I think two of them delivered was, geez, it was $27 or something?
Supporting Australian jobs. Yeah. What's in here?
Well, actually, back it up a step. What I've also done, I got a Mishimoto, I bought a sandwich plate. So what I want to run is, I want to run all pressure, oil temp, and fuel pressure.
Yeah.
So I don't want to run the car at a track day, or just in general, you want to have a few more sensors on the car. So at least then you can put some fail-safes into the ECU.
Does your ECU support that? Because I know yours is a plug and play, it's pretty limited, isn't it?
Yeah, good old Barry, as usual, worked it out that I can only run one sensor on top of the factory sensors.
One extra sensor.
One extra sensor, and I'm going to get a Link expansion loom. You can buy them, and it should work with mine, and it will allow me to run a few more sensors. So the sandwich plate I've just got to run, obviously, the oil sensors. And thanks to EFI Hardware, I went down there and I bought this is obviously a temp sensor, and these are fairly new to the market. This is a Bosch fluid sensor.
Oh yeah, I've seen these before.
So, because obviously these are M10, that's an M10 thread, and this is a 1/8, so you just need the adapter. So the other thing I mentioned in the last video was wanting to run a catch can, because obviously the car's going to naturally breathe a bit. And I got a little Mishimoto compact can. The way this is packaged is really nice. Look at the packaging with that. Yeah. The can's tiny, as you can see.
But this is what, an oil air separator, yeah?
Yeah, so you'll be running 2 in from the rock cover, the factory ones. And this will be running out back into the intake. So it's still...
So this is really how it should be done legally, yeah?
Yeah, you shouldn't be having air filters.
Because people have got air filters on a catch can, it's venting to atmosphere.
No, this will run exactly like the factory one, except at the moment, the lines are going straight to my intake, and that's obviously where the oil ends up through the intercooler and everywhere. This will pull the oil out, but it's still all plumbed up to the intake like factory. So it's if you want to say it, it's completely EPA legal. Didn't you buy something else to do with the, I guess, the breathing system? Oh, I bought people in the 4G community would know, I bought a Kigley Racing. It's like an oil regulator. So it keeps, I think, the oil in the head at a constant 15 PSI, because eventually you'll end up with too much oil in the head that's not needed, and you want that oil on your crank bearings. So that's on its way from the USA, so that probably won't be here for quite a while. And that just bolts directly on where the original one comes out. Okay. What about this? I know we've had a few, not dramas, but the gearbox in your car, it's not going to last. The gearbox, forever, unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier, we can't use anything later Evo. None of that's compatible. So I thought I'd hit the jackpot, and someone had found me an old GSR, a spare gearbox. Have you got it here? I have got it here. I'll pull it out. This looks like it's a little second-hand Jordo. This was in a mate's shed for 15 years. It's a Mitsubishi all-wheel drive gearbox out of a Lancer. So of course I look at the numbering on it. Obviously like any gearbox, it has like a code on it, so you know what it's from. This code did not align with anything, and we've since worked out that we think it's off a CB Lancer, which is a really... So this is BNA, yeah? I'm not sure. This came from a front cut, so the front cut came here, someone to use the motor. I've got a feeling this actually comes with what's called, I think it's a 4G61, is that right? Which look like a 4G63, they physically look the same. Hang on, isn't that the same bolt pattern on the... Does that mean this would bolt up? I think the only thing it may bolt up to is what's called a 6-bolt. So an earlier one like a VR4. Yep. This will not go on my car because the way they mount is differently, the way the actual gearbox mounts into the chassis and so forth. So I've got a couple of, you can't see them, I've got a couple of transfer cases actually. I haven't checked yet whether they're compatible either. So I'll put the code on the screen because I went looking on the internet. It was actually hard to find any information on this gearbox, which is unusual. Yeah, if anyone can let me know more information on what they think that's out of, I'd appreciate it, or what exactly it is. Getting back to what we're talking about, the gearbox, there's only one option, sequential. And probably a winner of probably at least a Division 2 in Tatsalotto, you reckon? No. Well, by the time you break a bunch of old crap gearboxes, just trying to find them, how many people do you hear of that've broken 4 or 5 gearboxes, and you think if you add all that up, you could have had something decent in your car. And then the other option is what you get, like a dog gear set in it, which isn't cheap either. No. And then, to be honest, they're not very nice on the road. They're noisy. They're harsh. You can't granny, you've got to... They're made for full throttle, you know what I mean? Like, they're not nice to just drive normally, they're just awful. I mean, some people like your car, if you got a dog box, you'd probably only get third and fourth gear. Yeah, third and fourth are the problem gears, and those, especially fourth, is a problem, the weak point of the gearbox. At the track, because you're not really using... You don't even really use second gear much at the racetrack. Nah, not that much. That's an option, but there are some cheaper sequential options. Does anyone out there have an idea of what we could put in the car? Because you're going to have to upgrade your shafts and everything, I'm assuming. And the thing you've got to think about too is you've also then got to think about if you change the front drive ratio, you've got to change the rear diff. Yeah, that's not a big issue. That's not a big issue. A lot of them are Evo drive ratios, which are even shorter. I don't like that. I actually do not want shorter gearing in the car. Yeah. I can't stand it. It's already stupidly short. I'm assuming though, if you're going to put in a decent gearbox, you're going to have to put a bigger rear diff in it. A new pumpkin, the whole thing, I'm assuming. But anyway, what do you guys think we should do? The next part with this car is probably, we're going to have to look at the turbo. I know you want to look at the turbo and engine, but I think you should sort the gearbox out first. Yeah. The driveline. People might be wondering, what do you mean? You're not making much power. What do you need a gearbox? It's future-proofing the car. Yeah, and to be honest, the gearbox isn't that great to drive either. It's a bit of a... It's bloody awful, I reckon. Like... Yeah, you drive it. The Subaru box is much nicer. You drive it. I don't even know what gear I'm in. It is so sloppy. And you've changed a bunch of the. You changed a bunch of. Yeah, I changed bushes. Some the plastic shifter bushes. Thanks to Aiden, he made up some custom brass ones. Fitted really nice. But there's only so much you can make that shifter work better. Yeah. Like it's still. There's no point in us pulling that engine out. Let's say banging some forged bits in it, put a bigger turbo on it, and the driveline standard. Everyone who modifies cars like this too, how they do it. They go, what's going to happen? They go, the first thing you'll do is just break the drivetrain. Something will go, No. They're great little cars, but when you've got these, approaching 30 years old, there's not much on the market for them. I don't understand, to be honest, if you've got a first-gen Evo style car like that, why you just don't get a late model front and just use an Evo, 8, Evo 6 onwards, whatever.
Engine and gearbox.
And just put it in. Oh, you can do it and it can be done. I think it's Racefab in New Zealand make the mounting kit, but it's all money.
I think the mounting kit is over $3,000. Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, but then you've got a stronger gearbox in your car.
Yeah.
You sort of look at it from that point of view and you go, but then you go, might as well buy a later model Evo, but nah. I reckon that's cool. I did see a photo of one that had the late model swapped around setup, and I don't know, I reckon it's good. But you also got a lip. Unicorns.
eBay style, I made the ghetto lip. Put that on because I was sick of looking for this Evo 2 lip. It was doing my head in. And the ones you'd find would either be stupid money or they just...
Well, you can't find them.
Nah, they're hard to find. Of course...
Or they'd be overseas and they want $1,000 to ship it.
Yeah, and part of me was like, do I really want to...
That actually came up better than I thought it would look, to be honest. It doesn't look that bad.
I can probably improve it a little bit more, but it didn't come up too bad. And of course, as soon as I put that on the car, Baz finds me an Evo 2 lip. Well, it's actually his lip. Here is the Unicorn Evo 2 lip. It's a bit scuffed up. So this factory, they have a bit for the tow hook, so you can remove this. But what I was thinking, if anyone knows, why couldn't you just get this remanufactured at a plastic injection moulding, polyurethane?
Does anyone know who could remanufacture this lip for us?
Exactly. It's like they're getting so hard to find. It's just a simple product. It can't be that complicated.
We'd be happy to get a few made.
Well, you'd have to. I'm assuming you'd have to get a bunch made in bulk, but I reckon people would be interested in them for sure. They're very hard to find. So, anyone knows anything about some sort of plastic moulding? Let us know. So maybe in the next episode of Project No Update GSR, thing might actually be driving.
Go get this battery. I think we're going to have to go back to get this battery and get this car running for once. Where are you going to put that?
Well, in my head, I was thinking it would probably sit against here. But this airbox won't be here. That'll be coming out. Do you know what I mean?
You're getting rid of all this crap.
See all this? It can't sit there at the moment anyway because there's nowhere for the lines to go. But remove all this.
Where are you going to put the battery?
The battery I actually want to mount here. So put an airbox here, move the battery kind of more here on the rail. So all this. It'll still run an airbox like this, just redesign it so it's switched around. And then this catch can is better off going on this side than the other side, I think, because this is where the exits are.